Live for weeks. Let's go live.
Do some shoulder backs. Hey guys, what's going on? Today you're joining me with Shaun Kay, all the way from Australia, Perth, I believe. I hope that's right. This guy's a legend. This guy's it's just so unusual how we connected and just like bounced off each other. I knew that I had to share him with you guys. He owns, is the creator, the foundation, whatever you want to call it, of Smile Teachers. He is astronomical in what he's doing over there, speaking all over the Australia. He did have lineups to have international gigs this year, but unfortunately, that I don't know why. Don't know why that didn't happen. Who knows? I'm not talking about it anymore. But anyway, I just want to kindly introduce this guy, Shaun Kay. Dude, what's going on, man?
Thanks, Dale. Thanks for having me. I've just baked some choc chip cookies, actually. The house smells of choc chip cookies. I've got the fire lit. I'm living the dream.
Dude, you can't do that to me. Australia's too far away to nip over and get some cookies.
And they'll last about 24 hours, I think. There's only 6. I think I'll have 2 tonight, 2 in the morning and 2 tomorrow night, and they'll be gone.
Dude, you got to smash them. Dude, the kids, people know me on this, as in the group know me. They know people know me, but they want the most important thing. They know that I love Krispy Kreme. Do they do Krispy Kremes over in Australia? Just a random question.
Drive through Krispy Kreme shops.
You have Krispy Kreme shops. Australia's winning. It's got the sunshine.
Drive through. You can drive through and order coffee and get a box of Krispy Kremes. Yeah.
The Australia.
Like a McDonald's drive-through, but for Krispy Kremes. It used to be a thing in Australia, right? Like, so we're in Perth, which is 5-6 hour flight to the other side, which is Sydney, right. Melbourne, Brisbane.
Yeah.
It used to be a thing. If you went from Perth to visit Melbourne, you got Krispy Kremes at the airport in Melbourne because you couldn't get them in Western Australia. So it was like anybody that went to Melbourne, it wasn't like, bring me back a football, bring me back a jersey or whatever you want. It was bring me back a box of Krispy Kremes, which is just crazy because they're just sugar. Like it's just like liquid sugar.
Look what we're doing to Andy. Well, not Andy, Kieran. I think this is either Kieran or... So the kids, by the way, dude, the kids are using their parents' accounts. So this might be Ewan. I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know. Yeah. And Tom says hello. What's up, dude?
Hello, Thomas.
Great to have you. Look what you're doing. Look what you're doing to these people. This is your fault.
Exactly.
Give me a cookie.
Exactly.
Dude, so let's
healthy as possible. But continue.
Yeah. It's Ewan, by the way. It's Ewan down there. It's Ewan. Hey,
great
mate.
Name. I love that.
Tom said, a lot of people love the name Ewan. You're the third person to say that. I feel like I might want to change my name. Dude, so how this is going to look, I'm just going to ping over some questions so you can have a slight introduction of who you are. I'm going to be really cheeky and ask some questions, and I'm going to get the kids on here and they can ping over some questions to you as well. A lot of people that have come on, they said it's almost like a coaching session because there's no filter. They just ask the questions. It's just like, which is cool, right?
What I like doing. Instead of me trying to think of stuff, just let me speak.
Yeah, exactly. So, dude, who is Shaun Kay in a nutshell, then, bro? I've forgotten already.
Well, to be honest, Shaun Kay is personally going through his own transformation for the infinite time. I don't know how many times I've gone through this, but what I'm actually going through at the moment is a pattern that I go through every year in March, April, and into May. And I'm only now, as I get older and wiser and closer to being Buddha, that I realize that it's a pattern, it's a cycle, and every year my birthday is in March. I have my birthday, everything comes up. Who are you? What are you doing? What's your purpose? Who do you want to impact? How do you want to show up? And then it goes into like, you're not doing enough, you should be doing more. Why are you working on this? It is lots of questions, and I know that my calling, my purpose is to help other people go through what I have been going through for 5 years. And it's using practices like breath work, which I believe is one of the biggest, I guess, movements going forward, is people really learning to access their breath and how that breath can help us alter consciousness and actually like reach peak states or these like moments of extreme joy or moments of extreme healing. And that's what I'm most passionate about. And I think for me, one of the reasons, your question was, who is Shaun Kay? And I'm struggling to articulate it at the moment, but I know exactly what I want to do. And one of the reasons I think I've been really challenged at the moment is because of the crisis, the pandemic, the plandemic, whatever we want to call it, because I'd been waiting for this moment. I'd been waiting for this opportunity in April to travel overseas to do a 2-week intensive breathwork facilitator training course, where that was then going to give me the tools to really work with trauma, to work with the deep, like, inner child stuff. And I wasn't able to do it. So it was like, I'd had this goal all of 2019. I'd had this goal, was working towards it. I was actually supposed to go away in October 2019 and do the training. And thanks to whatever, I won an award to go on another retreat. So obviously I went to that retreat because it was a scholarship, and everything's just where it is now, where I'm kind of like, okay, I'm at this point in my life where I'm being called this way, and ultimately I want to go this way, but it's like figuring that out. And I think you've probably been there, even looking at your book and some of the characters in the book, the challenges that those, whether you want to call them archetypes, characters, whatever, the challenges that each one goes through, it's like you elevate to the next level and then the next level. And then it's, for me personally, Shaun Kay is a healer, but Shaun Kay also needs to do his own healing so that he can share that with other people. So if you had to summarize all of that in one word, I would say I am an uplifter. I help people. I uplift people. I'm miserable because I'm not at school, and this makes me feel better. Fantastic. Well, there you go.
You just said it. This is you, dude.
Exactly. But it is, that's whether I'm really passionate about, and I'm sorry to the girls because I do love you as well, and most of my work is actually with females, but I'm really passionate, and I know we spoke about this, Dale, boys and men, and helping them connect with, that uplift and being like, you're allowed to be whoever you want to be. If you want to be a dancer like Billy Elliot, or you want to be a news presenter like James Corden, or whoever you want to be, you don't have to be this like strong, rigid, physical man. You can actually be a soft, gentle male. And that's I think the most important thing is, especially for the kids, like, Hannah's commenting here, school makes me feel better.
Yeah.
But what if we could teach Hannah to make herself feel better without school, without other people, without Dale, without Shaun? What if Hannah could just do it on her own? Yeah. And that's what I think want for everybody.
Dude, I love that. That's amazing. In fact, you've kind of hit a bit of a light bulb moment in my brain just there, because you just said, I don't know. And I think that's really cool, because for me, inside my head, when you do know, it's almost, that's the end of the journey. And I don't want my journey to stop here now when I'm 35. I don't want it to stop. I want to forever keep on knowing who I am. And it's almost as if, well, I'm part of this. This is part of me. I've been on the event. I've done a skydive. That's part of me. I've done it. This is part of me. I've had trauma. That's part of me. And how can we articulate all that when we haven't experienced all we can experience? So that's cool, man. I like that.
I think my biggest thing it resides, deep within me, is exactly like what Kristen's saying. Like, we are miracles, and people talk about, there's that statistic that there's like, a 1 in a trillion chance of you being a human or whatever. I don't know how they work that out, but like, we know that we're a miracle. We know that and this was, I just thought of something else, where they try and work out these statistics, like 1 in a trillion chance of being born. Another one that I had today was, I had some probiotic yogurt, and on the label it had 100 billion bacteria in every serving. And I was like, they don't know that. I was like, they can't see that there's 100 billion bacteria in the serving, but they can't. It is very much And this is what I want everybody to be conscious of now, is what we're feeding our mind. Because my biggest battle lately has been comparing. It's like, you know, he's doing this, she's doing that, he's doing that. I'm not doing enough. I should be doing more. I should be achieving more. And I even read a post today from a friend of mine, and she's incredible at what she does, but her post had the word in bold over and over: more, more, more. You need to be doing more, being more, selling more, making more. And I'm like, that's growth mindset. It's very much growth mindset. And I'm like, if we go through life always wanting more, it's like what you just said, Dale. You don't ever want to get to that destination. I was like, because then you sit there and you go, what now? And this is really what has happened to me. Was when I launched my project 3 years ago, it was to do the work I just talked about. It was to help people. It was to uplift people. It was to heal that trauma. It was to help people through those dark challenges, like the real mental health issues. It was to help people through that. And I ended up doing what we just talked about. More, 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 more. Oh, that school wants to book me. I'll do that. Oh, that place wants me to speak. I'll do that. I'll create an online program. And I just kept saying yes to everything. And the way that I explained it today, which I know you'll love because you're a very metaphorical man, is I did a session yesterday with an intuitive healer. We went inside, we connected with my higher self, and we did some work around where this feeling of suffocation and being stuck was coming from. And so what we eventually spoke about was my life and my business has become this huge overgrown garden. And it's like, you look into it and if you look out the window, it's just this huge mammoth of a creation, all kinds of plants, not a beautiful one by any means, just weeds growing, stuff growing. It's all over the place. When really all I want, and I think what we all want, is what I did next. And it was like, I imagined I was holding a fresh pot and I was putting in a whole new plant. And all I wanted was that to just be a beautiful little bonsai. And that was all I ever wanted. But I got stuck in this comparison game. I got stuck in this wanting more, setting new goals, achieving those, then the next goals, achieving those. And I never really stopped to be like, you know what, you've actually achieved so much. And, you know, you've already worked with 7,000 teachers and even more students. But I never once stopped and felt that like sense of gratitude. It was just like consistently chasing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that's where I think in education in particular, the growth mindset can become very toxic.
Dude, I've never heard that one. That's cool.
So the guy that I started all of this with, Greg Mitchell, he's basically my partner in crime. He's 65. He's been doing this education consulting for a very long time. And the thing that we've worked on together is, because when Carol Dweck created Fixed and Growth Mindset, it was all very much based around organization and success at, you know, that organizational level, like your IBM, your Google, whatever. We all want to have this growth mindset so that we can grow this company and we're all getting better and we're all achieving. And because of that, we're growing. And all of a sudden, schools, education, everything started doing it. And so classic example is, let's say, for example, the way we explain it when we do our workshop is that there's actually 4 mindsets, and we go fixed, growth, benefit. And benefit is all about you understanding that when you work as a team and you collaborate with other people and you share and you listen and you ask for help, that is where we create these incredible things. Like, you know, an example that we used was there's in Mexico, there's a guacamole flavored Dorito, which would be amazing, by the way. But the guacamole, so because basically this is what happened, right? There was a group of Mexican women
Yeah.
mums, mama, senoritas, and
Can't beat that.
they were like, when we're always dipping the chip in the guacamole, why don't we just create a chip with the guacamole inside? And so that was like a very basic example of, 4 different minds all wanting to achieve a goal.
Yeah.
And then they work together and everybody benefits from it, and they achieve its goal. And then so what Greg has sort of come up with in the framework that we use is, it's not just about isolating fixed is better or growth is better or benefit is better. It's about having the ability to maneuver between which mindset you need to use in any given situation. Because when we sit down to set up this account on this brilliant software that we're using, you need a fixed mindset. You need to go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But then if we were like, how do we get more people involved and how do we build this and grow it and make it bigger? Well, then we're using our growth mindset.
Yeah.
And then we go, all right, me and Shaun are going to connect because we want to have a bigger impact and we want to bring Shaun's community in and we want to bring Dale's community in and we want to collaborate so that we have bigger impact. That's benefit. And so it's learning to access each of those mindsets at any time.
What was the 4th one, Shaun? Sorry.
So universal is what we call it. So universal mindset is having the mindset that you can use all 3. And when we get everybody thinking like that, the world is a better place. People are happier. There's less mental illness. And so Greg's been talking about it for 3 years. But if you ever meet Greg, and I'll actually connect you with Greg because I've just introduced him to the online game, and mate, he's the best. He's honestly the best presenter in the education space in terms of engaging, interactive, fun. Mate, he draws, he writes books, he does everything. He's amazing.
Yeah. Sounds like quite a man.
Sure. He is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When I think of a chap like that, I think of Sir Ken Robinson. I think you've caught his.
Greg's very similar, and Greg nerds out. Like Greg's 67 actually. He's 67. Yeah. He's dyslexic as well, so you'll relate to that.
Same.
He's the one I was telling you about when he used to write copy, and then I'd have to review it and just be like, "What is happening?"
Greg, where's your head at, bro?
Words like I remember the very first workshop we did together. Greg, I organised the whole thing, and I was going to do the final session, and I was letting Greg do the first session and the second session. And the first slide he put up, he had spelt this word, and the word was hard. Like we called this the ability to move between the mindsets. We call a mindset maneuver. Yeah. And basically, the word maneuver is tricky at best, and I think there's like 2 correct spellings for maneuver. But anyway, Greg put his slide up and it was like maneuver. And it was like his whole slide, the word was like this long. And I'm sitting there just like freaking out. Like, we've got all these teachers. What are you doing? And as he does, he's, as I said, one of the best in the business. He just managed to intertwine the incorrect spelling with the start of his presentation. On the fly, it was like complete improv, where he was like, right now I'm having to use my benefit mindset because it's spelled incorrectly. He's like, if I was using my fixed mindset and all I wanted to do was get it right, I'd have anxiety and I'd be overwhelmed and all these things. Or if this was me trying to, improve and get better results, and then I realized that I'd put that spelling in there, I was going to get marked down and then I'd be disappointed. He's like, but instead, I'm saying, I'm dyslexic. There's a mistake. Can anybody pick it? Oh, you've all picked it. Congrats. Yeah. You're the winner. So I'll definitely connect you with Greg. And mate, for the audience, they will love Greg 100%.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I never thought. Do you know what? You've shaken my thought tree, and I love that so much. I think I'm getting more from this. Well, I hope everyone else is getting loads from this. But the very fact that you've just said, actually, because I always thought, okay, so I've read the book many times, Carol Dweck, fixed growth mindset. For me, she's always painted fixed as being quite negative and growth as being positive. And that's how she painted it. And that's how I received it in my mind. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be fixed anymore. I don't want to be singular minded and go, no. I want to be growth. I want to be like, yes, we can do this. We can work together, whatever. But actually, sometimes I need to have a fixed mindset when I'm creating, like you've just said, creating this or doing video editing in a certain sequence. So don't reject that, and then have the benefit of how it can influence everybody, and the universal, having the balance of all of them. That's insane. That's really cool.
And when we do the actual workshop, the way that Greg set it up is we talk about what fixed looks like, what growth looks like, what benefit looks like, and then basically he calls it enlightened fixed, enlightened growth, or enlightened benefit, or toxic fixed growth. It's so simple, where it's like toxic growth mindset is where people become overly competitive, win at all costs. They will be relentless to like step on people, push people over. And when we do it, we play a game of musical chairs, audience, full participation, like 20, 30 people. And initially, like Greg doesn't tell them, initially the activity starts and he just says, okay, first round, everybody move, everybody sit down nice and quietly, find your space. So everybody takes their time, they sit down, and then he goes, okay, no moving. If both feet are on the floor, you get a point. If both legs are crossed, you get a point. And then all of a sudden, people start like trying to move because they're like, I have to do this right. I have to get this correct. I have to be exactly what the criteria says. So fixed mindset of like feet on the floor, arms folded, whatever. But what happens with toxic fixed is if we don't know the criteria, so if we don't know what we're aiming for, so your video sequence, if you don't know that you have to do step 1, step 2, step 3 in that order, that's where we just get all muddled up and confused, and then we hate it and we don't even want to do it. We're like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to know about it. I don't know. It's too hard. Don't want to do it. But then he moves into growth, and it's like we start taking chairs out and we start telling people like the winner's going to get a prize. People start pushing and shoving and like, throwing people out of the way to be the winner. And then the last part is we start taking chairs out, but we say to them, you must sit down, you must be in contact with somebody else, and you must not be touching the floor. So then people end up sitting on each other's lap, holding each other, holding on to support each other, and it's all benefit. And that's as simple as that. And I think, Carol Dweck, there's nothing wrong with what she did, but I think it's like don't shoot the messenger, but somebody else takes that and puts their own twist on it, and then they deliver it, and then somebody else takes it and puts their own twist on it, and then they deliver it, and then all of a sudden it's lost its actual purpose.
Yeah. It's amazing. I never really thought of it like that. It's almost as if it's almost like NLP personality typing, where it's you've got like a visual, let's say an auditory, and you've got then an auditory digital. So people that are specific in that, that alignment. And it's like, well, no, that's fixed. That's not good. You don't want to be fixed. But it is. When we put a label on it of good and bad, and obviously she was leaning more towards growth. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But it has its benefits, fixed, especially if it's from a, like you say, universal, no,
universal,
not toxic. Universal benefit. Yeah.
But see, what happens with the benefit is, and this is interesting, toxic benefit, we talk about you have a messiah complex, where if you're all about giving, I'm doing so much for people, I'm serving, then it starts to become like, oh, Dale, I went to the fundraiser and helped. Why didn't you go to the fundraiser and help? Or I'm out there helping in the community and I didn't see you there helping the community. And you become like this messiah where it's like, because I'm benefit all the time, I'm higher and I'm better. And that's toxic as well. So it's really about, just being yourself and getting people to follow and just by being a role model. But you just mentioned something that stuck in my mind, which was genius. Now, when you talk about NLP, archetypes, Jungian theory, all those different things. The program that I'm actually working with now, and I'm investing more and more time with them, is Genius School, and they're huge. Like Roger James Hamilton, who's actually originally UK, they've got 1 million entrepreneurs in their community. But now what they're creating, or they have been creating the last few years, are genius schools. And basically, there are 4 geniuses, and there's eight personality types within it, but there's 4 geniuses, and it's like Dynamo, Blaze, Tempo, or Steel. So it's basically like I'm a star, which means I'm half Dynamo, half creator. So Dynamo is.
I've done that, dude. I'm going to send that to you. I'm going to send you. I'm sure I've done that.
Yeah,
I'm going to send you mine.
Debrief. I can do the whole debrief with you. But it's really interesting, because what it is it's like then kids at school are staying in their genius, and it's like for me, on my profile, the opposite side of me is a lord, and a lord. I love it's in the background with the screen. Spaceships and stuff. This Lord, this Dark Lord, for me, the darkness is the Lord. So Darth Vader is my Lord. But basically, the Lord is numbers, systems, processes, calculations, all fixed mindset. And put me in that energy and that flow, like they talk about flow, put me in that energy, and I am a mess. I'm anxious, I'm nervous, I'm stressed, I'm drained, I'm fatigued. Keep me in my energy, bored, keep me in star, talking, connecting, supporting. And I'm like I am now. I'm just like beaming with energy. I could do this for another 2 hours. But this afternoon, when I was trying to do email sequences, just so draining. So if kids can learn that early and realize, like, you know, how many kids go through their what do you guys call it? Your finals, GCSE. How many kids go through their GCSE trying to do like calculus, algebra, all these subjects to get into the course they think they want to? And it is so challenging and difficult for them to do it. They put themselves through the pain of like trying to do that, when if they just stuck to the sciences and the humanities and just blitzed that, they'd be fine. But they've just, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, 100%. This is one reason why one of many reasons why I left education. Because it's not unique, it's not specific, it's not tailored to the individual, it's tailored to the masses. And unfortunately, fortunately for people that are more Lord, win. You know, they're in the zone, and I think sometimes, oh, you've done so well in your GCSE, you absolutely crushed it, you did amazing, and he didn't even have to study. Well, no, because that's
exactly what my parents. That's exactly what my dad said. My dad says to me. And you know, my whole journey with mind, heart, body, everything. I think back to when I was in high school. Like, tell me if you've ever heard of anybody doing this. I used to, at 16, 17, write my notes neatly, record my notes onto an MP3 player, and sleep with my notes playing in my earphones, because I knew that subconsciously that was programming me to remember. And so the morning before an exam, I'd flick through my notes again, and I'd walk into that exam and everything would just be crystal clear. Obviously, the stuff that I had on the notes sheet, sometimes there was stuff in the test that was just like, that wasn't even on the notes sheet. But, you know, my dad still used to joke, and he goes, oh, yeah, the guy that scored 90, like, I don't know how you guys do it, but it was like a high score and never did any study. And I was like, no, I just studied smart. I didn't sit there and do hours and hours and hours and hours. Because, at 15, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but I was listening to guys like Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, Les Brown, like all these like self-development gurus, and they were all, you know, talking about this stuff. And so I was hacking it. I was into it. And I was also playing like high-level sports, so I was obsessed with like motivation. How do I get myself in that peak mind state?
Yeah, I love that. And I caught a video of you on, I forget where it was. I think it might have been Instagram. I'm not sure, where you were talking a lot about responsibility, and you were really passionate about it. And I think this tweaking and playing around with the word responsibility, would you say it is down to the child to have their own responsibility of knowing their own path of how to learn effectively for themselves, with guidance, obviously? So yeah, touch on that. What, responsibility in a child's head, how important is it? Big question.
No, it's not a big question. Well, it is a big question, but I honestly believe that one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest problems in education today is parenting. And I encourage any kids that are watching this, any children that are watching this, just to be curious and just to find out, maybe what your genius is, or to do the 13 personalities test online. Like for me, I was actually looking at it today. The website, I think it's either 12 personalities or 13. Let me just have a look. 12. No, it must be 13.
So that's good. Be curious and identity. 2 words I wrote down just there. So curiosity, I preach that, dude. Be curious.
Find out, like what me and Dale are talking about, find out what your genius is. And the sooner you do that, the younger you are when you do that, you can start to actually focus on these decisions. And, you may have an adult, you may have a parent or a teacher say, we want you to do mathematics high level, and go, it's not my genius. My genius is doing these creative things. And it is sometimes really hard, especially if you're a child, because even now at 30 years old, there are still things that my parents say and do that are hard for me to work past. And it's like 0 to 8 years old, we are programmed, and we download our environment, whatever's happening around us. We don't have a choice. We download that. And one of the most important things I will say, which I know Dale is big on, is always play and have fun. Like, one of the biggest things. It's like we get to high school and our play just goes down and down and down and down and down and down until you become an adult and you're working, and it's like, oh, I need to schedule in 1 hour a week to do something fun. Like, why not have fun every day?
Yeah. Dude, I'm such a big advocate of that, of just playing. In fact, I think sometimes I play a little bit too much, as in my relationships with friends. I tease, I play around with my girlfriend. I kind of play around a bit too much, and sometimes it's not serious, but I love that because I'm having fun. I don't want to have fun at someone else's expense. But I'm a huge advocate of that. And so anyway, dude, we're going to get some kids on. You ready?
Sounds good. I was like, well, they've all just come fluttering through. I was like, where are they? Here they are.
Here they are. These are the top ones. Here we go. Right then. So Ebony, because you're sitting there nice and patiently, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah.
Please.
What type of books would you recommend for positive thinking?
Oh,
what a question.
It depends on whether we like non-fiction or fiction. Personally, I didn't read a fiction book for about 10 years, I think, and I've just started reading a fiction book called Boy Swallows Universe. It's an Australian book, and it's very popular in Australia. It's a little bit, there's a few adult things in there, but it's about a boy who doesn't talk. He's a mute. He can't talk. And he's got a twin brother who can talk. And the whole story is about how they communicate through body language and how they go through this life together. And this boy that doesn't talk actually has all the secrets to the universe. And he knows, why we're here. But for a young lady like you, positivity books, I know that Dale's book's a great book, but I would also have a look at a thing by Gabrielle Bernstein. Yeah, Raw Confidence, great book. Who's
Gabriel
read it?
Bernstein.
Has anyone read the?
Oh, there he is.
Raw Confidence.
Have you got? Kieran's got the book.
Ebony, what's your favorite book?
Not sure.
Not sure.
Might be the Harry Potter series though.
Oh, yeah, I like Harry Potter. I did read Harry Potter when I was a young boy.
Yeah. Me too, dude.
Anybody else
Thank Ebony. That's amazing. Thank you. Zach. Yeah, Zach, you were the first one on, dude. So do you want to have you got a question, bro?
I have to think.
Okay, no worries. What about Kieran?
Sometimes I get the question, what happened to my hair?
I just wanted to say something.
Go on, but dude, what do you want to say?
First of all, I'm from Australia.
Brilliant. Whereabouts?
Brisbane.
Brisbane. Nice. Good part of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
nice
and the
one,
second thing was when we went there at Christmas, we took home about 10 packets of Tim Tams.
Oh, because you can't get Tim Tams in the UK, can you?
No.
Just another sad thing about the UK.
Well, free to post their word address. That'd be fantastic if you've got loads left. Cheers, buddy. I love how interactive you guys are. It's awesome. Kieran, do you have a question, my buddy? You don't.
No
you don't.
question.
Okay, I bet Ewan's got one though.
I don't know.
What is a Tim Tam? A Tim Tam is a biscuit. It's a chocolate biscuit. It's covered in like Cadbury chocolate. It's got soft chocolate on the inside, and it's between two biscuits. They're absolutely brilliant. And something that you can do with them is you bite off one end and then you bite off the other. And you dip it in milk, and you can suck the milk through the biscuit.
Oh, Shaun.
Yeah.
Best live ever. Tim Tam skills, guys. 101. I love that.
Maybe that's
it's
something
kind
you
of
can try, is making your own Tim Tams.
Yeah, it's actually so it's a little bit like a penguin, Kieran. So a tiny bit like a penguin kind of a way. Ewan, did you have a question, bro?
No.
Okay.
Good name, Ewan. I love your name.
I'm better than penguins.
Okay, cool. So there we go. We've got a few questions just there. We've had a few questions. We've had a few people on. Now we're going to kick them all off. Perfect. There you go. Cool. There you go. All gone. Right then. So if you do have a question, guys, feel free to come on. If you are still watching on my page on YouTube or Facebook, I'm going to put the link on again if you want to come on and ask a question because you haven't done so yet.
If I had known all the kids were on, I wouldn't have gone into the deep states of the mindset. I would have talked about some fun stuff.
Dude, there are some parents on here as well, and I know there's a few guys, adults on here, so that'd be fantastic as well. So that's really cool actually because they can interpret that in their own language to their child as well. So yeah, that's awesome. So what I wanted to say as well was that you've gone through your own journey, which is awesome, and you haven't reached your
journey.
So, you're still going through your journey. That was bad English though. Sorry. And you're still exploring that, I think what's really important is you have to be open to that too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's not like this. The work that I do, it's not for it. Not everybody can do it, and I know that. For me, I haven't read Raw Confidence yet. I must order a copy, but there's probably something along the lines of what I guess have been through symbolically, which is my entire. You imagine an entire family, like let's say generations. All going through mental illness, all going through not, being good enough, and many of them, really still struggling with it. And then came along me, and I actually feel like it's my destiny or my I guess calling to heal myself. But I'm not just healing myself; I'm healing for everybody else. And it's like, the breathwork people that I work with talk about, you can break the lineage, which is like, instead of I can stop this and I can not pass it to my children. Because it's literally almost everybody, not just male, female, but almost every person in my dad's side of the family all struggles with mental illness.
Right. That's really brave of you to share, man.
Recurring mental health issues.
Yeah, some shushma.
Shushma. Something I really do believe in, and especially with that word recurring, is there comes a point where you do have to stop playing the old tape. There comes a point where you do have to stop talking about the trauma that happened or the story that happened, or, for me, it was 4 years ago. I touch on it now and then, but bringing that up all the time just brings more to it. And, if we look at ourselves as energy beings, we are attracting, and like attracts like. So if we're talking about and this is a big thing for people, and I honestly need to be really careful because I don't want to, trigger anything, and I know that I won't, but we need to be really careful about how much time and energy we're giving to our mental health issues. So if we're in the crux of it, like I was 3 years ago, if we're really in that space where we're not okay, then yes, we need to go and be consulting with a therapist regularly. And, I was doing it 2 times a week at one stage to get myself to 1 time a week. And then she was really good where it got to a point where she's like, you don't need to be seeing me anymore. But if we're going to talk to somebody every week about the same thing, and we're just repeating the story every time, we're not getting better. We're staying in that reality. We're staying in whatever happened 3 years ago. If I'm still going in there today, talking about what happened 3 years ago, I haven't moved forward. So for recurring mental health issues, I would say really, really connect with yourself as well as the support. Because if you're not connecting with yourself and you're just listening to what everybody else is telling you to do, we can get lost. So, and I'm happy, like, for anybody that watches this to reach out to me personally, and I'm happy to have a chat about my journey. I'm not going to prescribe, my methodologies, but I am going to just share what I went through. And there came a day when a friend said to me, you're addicted to the anxiety. And I'd never thought of it like that. I'd become addicted to waking up, and the first thing in the morning I did was I put my hand on my chest. I was like, how am I feeling? Oh, I've got to go and meditate. I've got to go on gratitude. I've got to go for a walk. I've got to do this. I've got to do all these things because I'm feeling this flutter in my chest. But all that flutter in the chest, more flutter in the chest, more flutter in the chest, more flutter in the chest. And by the end of the day, you're exhausted. Oh, you just scared me. I was like, what's happening? Something's taking me.
Sorry, dude. We've got to. Yeah, mate. I really appreciate that. I think that's really cool as well that you say you're addicted to it. You were addicted to it.
We're emotional beings. Okay, we've got this emotional guidance system. Everyone, kids, parents, whoever's watching this, at any given moment, any situation, we have the power to choose how we feel. We have the power to choose a better feeling emotion. And again, with everything that we've talked about tonight, and we used growth mindset as an example, but if I'm feeling sad and lonely, like I have been sometimes during isolation, I live by myself, and I honor that I'm feeling sad and lonely. It's okay to feel sad and lonely, and I don't just have to turn that around and go to being joyful. I don't have to go, I'm sad and lonely. I shouldn't be sad and lonely. I'm going to be joyful. So I'm going to go and do something to get myself joyful. It could just be, instead of being sad and lonely, I'm feeling tired. And so I allow myself to feel tired and I rest for a little bit. And then it's, I go and focus on something outside, nature or whatever. And I'm feeling a bit more alive. And all of a sudden I'm feeling, happy. Because joyful is the top of the scale. Happy is a bit further down. It's like we can be happy. We don't have to be joyful because it all takes energy. But all we need to be able to do is move up that scale. And, the bottom of the scale is depression and the top of the scale is joyful. But at any given situation, we can choose. We have the power to choose. And I really hope that everybody can remember that. Take a big breath and choose a better feeling emotion.
Love that. Love that. Okay, Lily. Hey, Lily. We missed you out, didn't
Hello,
we?
Lily.
How would you recommend for people who are addicted to trying to help battling their mental illness to stop doing that?
That's a great question. So your question is, how do we break that cycle? Okay, so everything that we're talking about with mental health, especially, things like anxiety, is it's a cycle or a spiral. It's actually a spiral, okay? And you imagine it's swirling around and it's swirling around, and we can get stuck in that tornado. We could just keep staying there, stuck in that tornado, spinning around, or we can find something nearby to grab onto. So let's use you for an example, Lily. What's something that you really enjoy doing?
I think taekwondo.
Taekwondo, excellent.
Wicked.
Brilliant. So if you were somebody who was maybe struggling with a bit of anxiety or fear, or you were nervous, you don't even have to do the taekwondo, but you could sit like a Jedi, like a samurai, like a superhero, and close your eyes and think about you doing taekwondo. And you don't even have to be moving. You can just picture it in your head. How do you feel when you do taekwondo? How do you move when you do taekwondo? And all of a sudden, your body starts to change. And instead of being in this spiral, you start to become very still and strong and rigid. So, like I said, you don't have to be doing the taekwondo. You could just close your eyes and imagine doing the taekwondo. But if you are really, if you're sitting there and you aren't feeling very good, can you take a big breath, stand up, and go, "Hiya!" and do some taekwondo? Can you do that?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Lily, that was cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Lily, can I just say that I think that was so super brave that you did that.
Excellent. It was very brave.
Super brave, because I can see. I mean, Shaun and I are like pretty decent at knowing this, and we can see the emotion on your face as well. That looked a bit uncomfortable, but you were so brave, and you said it in front of all these people that are going to be watching this, not just now, but in the future. I'm going to take my hat off to you and expose my messy hair, because I'm proud of you. As long as you don't laugh at my messy hair.
It doesn't have the same effect.
Shaun, you blow me away.
One shines. I say this is my halo. See my halo? I've got a halo.
Yeah. He's an angel. He's an angel just there.
An angel. My higher self. Right
yeah. And okay, dude. So thank you, Lily. I really appreciate that, lovely lady. Megan has asked my question. How can people find you?
Oh, this is a good question. So
where can we find you?
You've got to find a red telephone box, and then you've got to dial number, and then a pigeon will pick up a piece of paper and it'll deliver it to you. No, not really. You can find me at Shaun K1 on Instagram. That's SHAUN. I'll put it in the chat box. Shaun K1 on Instagram, or smile_teachers on Instagram. That's the easiest way. And then from there, there's links to other places. I'm not on social media much these days. I made a big decision to step away from that world for a little bit. And I'm working on something that Dale knows about that I'm not really telling too many other people about. But I'm trying to condense all of this into something about that big that I know it's important for me to share it, and I know that it'll touch some people as well. But yeah, like I said, anybody please reach out. I'm always happy to chat. And yeah, don't be afraid to ask for anything that you need.
Yeah, so this answer.
I was stuck in the past, but perhaps I need to consider this again. Yep,
Yeah.
fantastic. And there's a really incredible practice I can share as well with you, Shushma, which would be my gift to you. It's called Ho'oponopono. I just love that word. But it's a practice for forgiveness, for forgiving yourself, for forgiving other people, and it's powerful. And Dale, I think I'll send it to you as well because I know you'll love it.
Yes, 100%, dude. And also, so the last question for me, this is my favorite question. In fact, I'm going to ask you two. So, if I'm going to ask you two. If the 11-year-old Shaun met the 30-year-old Shaun right now, would the 11-year-old Shaun see him as a role model?
Yeah, yes, he would, definitely.
Cool.
30-year-old Shaun, and it's also something that has improved greatly the last month or two, but I needed to have more fun. We all have this, everybody has this, and I'm not going to go into it today, but we all have this inner child. Doesn't matter how old we are, we all have this memory of what it was like to be a kid. And when we get stuck, like we just talked about with, was it Shushma? When we get stuck focusing on what's not working, we forget that we've got this playful, fun, exciting little child inside us, and we can all connect with that child. So for me lately, it's been surfing. Surfing every day, just about, is me playing. And it's like time stops. I should be doing, could be doing, would be doing so many productive things, but I'm not. I'm sitting in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by great white sharks, surfing waves. So yeah, I guess I would be a role model, but I would also, I'd be want to be having more fun.
Yeah, cool. I love that. I will love that. So it's almost as if, what would your 35-year-old self thank you for? Thank your 30-year-old self for, maybe. So yeah, that's cool. And what might you say to your? I think it might be the same answer, really. What might you say to your 11-year-old self if you wanted him to impact the world because you believed him and you knew he could? What would you say to him, give him that motivation, that kickstart, that ignition, that spark? You weren't prepared for this. I'm really sorry, dude. I'm really sorry.
No, wait, what? No, I'm just, I like to try and actually think, not just splurt from my conscious mind. It's what it's important that we feel.
Yeah.
So, it's something you would have used to just go, dang, there's my answer, but it might not actually feel like the right answer. So my 11-year-old self advice would be trust yourself more than anybody else, and most definitely 100% be prepared and not afraid to take risks, because without the risk there is no reward. And it's taking me even till now, till 30, to really embrace taking risks. And I'm not talking about silly risks. When I was younger, I used to take a lot of silly risks. There's a lot of near-death experiences from me doing ridiculous stuff. Whereas I'm sure that prepared me for now, where it's like taking a risk in business or taking a risk with an idea. Just be prepared to take risks and you'll be fine.
Wicked. Dude, I love that so much. That's so cool. So cool. Right, we're going to get up. Something's happened. All the kids have fallen off, but we're going to get them on and we're going to give them a nice big wave goodbye. So we've got Ebony. We've got, where is Zach? There's Zach, the Tim Tam boy. There he is. All right, guys. So let's thank Shaun for his precious time, because over in Australia it's 7 o'clock over there. So
it's dinner time.
It's dinner time. We need to make sure he has his dinner, guys. Okay. So thank you for your time, Shaun. You're blown welcome. My mind. You're like the 4 personality thing. I'm going to sit with that today and have a little bit of a meditation, a little think about that, because that's really when
I'll send you the PowerPoint slides so you can have a look at them.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. And I've definitely got to
Yeah.
speak to Greg as well. I'd love to say hey to
Yes,
him. He
I'll
sounds like the
connect
Jim
you.
Rohn in the modern age, or the Sir
Yes.
Ken Robinson.
He
So,
is,
look,
he's like Einstein
Hey,
cross. Hello, how are you?
here they
What
are.
are you guys all going to do today? Are you all locked inside or?
I
Yeah.
made this yesterday.
Ah, so Ewan's homework or mission was to create his own goal. I love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the saying from Star Wars, Yoda, there is no try, do or do not. Do or do not. There is no try. So well done, Ewan. Thank you for listening, buddy. Let's all give. Sure, what we'll do is we'll wave goodbye to these guys. We'll end the broadcast, but we'll have a little
Bye.
chimuggle afterwards, if that's okay. Just 2
Cool.
seconds. So,
Thank
right,
you.
see you later, guys. Say goodbye to Shaun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.